Have you ever wondered why you do the things that you like or makes you feel good? Whether it is burning a tons of calories through running, performing your artistic hobbies, drinking your favorite juice, or watching your favorite show. You always come back to doing the things that you enjoy because of the positive feeling that the experience brings you. That good feeling that triggers excitement and motivation when you do the things that you like is caused by a chemical in your brain called dopamine. Dopamine stimulates happiness and excitability and can improve your overall contentness. Dopamine also helps regulate movement and emotional response. Moreover, not only that it enables us to see rewards, but to take action and move towards them. In fact, it's the brain chemical directly responsible for motivation and focus. Increasing dopamine can improve your motivation, productivity, and mood. In your brain, there are approximately 100 billion neurons, and those are what helps you process information or things. To understand how dopamine works, we first have to understand how neurons and neurotransmitter works. The basic structure of your brain's neuron consists of a soma, nucleus, dendrites, axon, and axon terminal. The axon, as you can see, branches into many different terminals. When your brain is active, neurotransmitters are released from a neuron's axon to a cell that can be a target cell, muscle cell, or gland cell. In dopamine's case, neurotransmitters are released from the neuron's axon to a target cell. To have dopamine chemical released in your brain, it has to travel from one axon terminal to its target cell. It has to travel through a small gap, which is called a chemical synapse cleft, and it is between a neuron's axon terminal and its target cell. Synapse in ancient Greek means to clasp together. This space is where neurons contact and communicate with their target cell. This gap is very tiny and it is approximately 5 millionth centimeter apart from each other. Let's zoom up at this axon terminal and its target cell. The membrane of the axon terminal is called the presynaptic membrane because it is before the synaptic cleft. The piece of membrane on the target cell is called the postsynaptic membrane because it is after the synaptic cleft. Inside of the presynaptic membrane are synaptic vesicles. In each of these synaptic vesicles contain many neurotransmitter molecules, and in our case, the neurotransmitter molecule is dopamine. Dopamine's chemical formula is C8H11NO2. On the postsynaptic membrane are the receptors that are specifically used to receive the neurotransmitter from the synaptic vesicles. Again, the dopamine neurotransmitter molecules have to cross the synaptic cleft and combine with the receptors in order for the brain to process information. This is how dopamine neurotransmitters transmit to the receptors. Inside the postsynaptic membrane, there are some things called the voltage-gated calcium channel, when something happens and your brain needs to process things. An action potential comes down the axon, reaches the axon terminal, which opens the calcium channel. When the voltage-gated calcium channel opens, calcium will flow into the presynaptic membrane and increase the concentration of calcium inside. The high concentration of calcium in the presynaptic membrane causes the membrane of the synaptic vesicles to fuse in with the membrane of the presynaptic membrane. By diffusion, the dopamine neurotransmitter molecules will exit the axon terminal, flow out into the synaptic cleft, and binds into its receptors on the postsynaptic membrane. In the human's brain, the ventral tegmental area and the substantia nigra are the two parts that releases dopamine neurotransmitter to its target cells, which has dopamine receptors that receives the dopamine molecules. These target cells that receives dopamine can be found in the amygdala, nucleus accumbens, prefrontal cortex, and hippocampus. So, what do all of these brain parts mean, and how does it tie in with the release of dopamine? Let's take a look at that again with an example. Caroline loves eating cupcakes. There were cupcakes at the dining hall the other day. As she eats the cupcake, this is what is happening in her brain. The VTA sends dopamine neurotransmitter to Caroline's prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for attention and focusing.
I'm gonna focus is this cake?
Dopamine can also be sent to the amygdala, which is responsible for emotions and behaviors.
Oh my goodness, this cake makes me so happy. I'm so happy.
Another place that receives dopamine neurotransmitters are hippocampus, which is responsible for memory.
I'm gonna remember this cake.
The nucleus accumbens also contains dopamine receptors to receive the molecules, and this part of the brain is responsible for movement and action.
Let's do that again.
Caroline's nucleus accumbens caused her to stand up to get more cupcakes to eat.